Hey, what's up, guys? Teach me grappling. What's going on? We've got 4 people in the chat. I was hoping we'd have a little bit more than this. What's up, guys? I see you guys are already talking. Are you nervous training during COVID? My jiu-jitsu has been open for a month and a half so far in OC. It's pretty scary. Every time I hear someone cough, I think, oh shit. Yeah, the new way for me, guys, the new way to cough for me is COVID, and just say it out loud, like right as you cough. So, yeah, I guess it's pretty scary for a lot of people. All right, we've got 13 people in here. Skeptic wants to know if you guys train. People in the chat. New logo. Yeah, guys, one of my you guys all know Anton. Anton is a beast, wrestler, and he's been helping me in the last day. He's working on just kind of improving the channel, trying to work on putting up a banner. The logo's not new. That's actually our gym logo for Peterson Grapplers, and then he was trying to I guess put them together. So anyway, yeah, Nate, that was for you, right? Were you the one that was asking for the leg lace, I believe, right? So I try my best, and tonight, actually, this idea. One reason I'm home right now. Normally I would come home around this time, but one reason why I'm home is that I was feeling a little sick today. So because I was feeling sick, I didn't want to, infect anybody at the gym. So I chose to get the classes covered and just, just chill at home for a little bit, rest, some chicken noodle soup, and yeah. I think I'm okay, guys. I think I just have a cold, but anyway, I'm just a little congested in the nose. No, I have not been tested. And guys, trust me, you cannot get the coronavirus through this feed, so don't worry. Yeah, Matt, he says, play PUBG, Yeah, guys, I just got done playing a little PUBG right now, actually, right before this. That's why I was a little late. But finishing up my game, came in number 5. I was kind of pissed, didn't win. Anyway, what was I getting back to? I think I just have a cold, guys. I'm a little congested in the nose. I feel pretty good overall. So, yeah, you guys are totally welcome. So, the subject of tonight, the main subject, does weight matter? And this, I wanted to shorten it because I wanted to talk about this subject because we had one of our subscribers, one of the viewers. His name is Shandon, and Shandon is from London. So his name is like London, Atlanta, something like that. I actually don't know his exact name on YouTube, but his name is Shandon. He trains in the UK, and then he came and visited me here in the US. So he had this question, and the question goes something like, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Give me one moment. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up.
Okay, sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. The question goes like this: Coach Brian, when is the next live? It's now, Shandon, and that was earlier today. I have a question for you because I'm having a discussion. The scenario is a female 120 pounds, and a male 180 pounds. At what belt level does a female need to get to be able to fend off a potential rape attack? So there you have it. Skeptic quickly says coral belt. You got to be a coral belt. So yeah, so there's going to be so many things to talk about. And right now, David says weight, if it's muscle weight, if it's just fat, then no weight does matter. So, and he's partly correct, right? But weight still matters even if it's fat. Fat, I mean, obviously, if he's just a total marshmallow, it doesn't serve him very well, but weight in general does help. So, guys, let me ask you a quick question. Do you guys hear the noise coming from my roommate's room? Let me know if you guys hit in the chat if you guys can hear what's going on in the background. Or you just hear me. Okay, good. Then I'll continue. So, now weight. Is the weight that we just talked about, is the weight fat? Is it muscle? That makes a difference. Is it 180 pound, a guy like Kamaru Usman? You picture a guy built like that? Or is it 180 pounds of like just tubby lard? So there's a good question factor we don't know the answer to. Let's say, what else matters? Is the guy an athlete? Is he an athlete, or is he just some guy? Just some regular guy who's like a desk jockey. That makes a difference. Assuming that the 180 pounder doesn't have any training. He didn't wrestle in high school. He wasn't a college football player. The guy doesn't have much skill, I assume. I think we have to put that in the equation. The belt, if we're talking about a belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, from what academy? Belts vary from different academies. So, I like to think that my students are a little bit more prepared than the norm. And again, I'm not pointing out any schools. I'm just talking about the average Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt doesn't stack up very well with my blue belts most of the time. That doesn't mean I have the toughest blue belts in the world. That just means the average. When most blue belts come to my school, they tend to not do so well with my blue belts. And oftentimes they're going with my white belts and they're like, wow, that guy's only a white belt. He's like better than me. So that's common. It happens. So belts aren't created equal. Oh man, I got a lot of students in here. What's up, guys? What's up, Leo? What's up, Voodoo? We got Pius. We have the guys. I gotta announce this. We have the U of MMA lightweight champion of the world in the house right now. My student, Voodoo, Pius Enilolobo. So he's in the house. And then he's also a pro MMA fighter now, going on 43 years old. So anyway, let me get back to the subject at hand. So, Foul Fortune just said, you have Anton, so you probably do have the toughest blue belts in the world. Anton's still a white belt, Foul Fortune. He's still a white belt. He has not earned his blue belt yet. He is very, very good, but he hasn't earned it yet. And anyway, moving on. And yes, Matt is also here. So guys, I probably have, out of 32 guys in the room, I've got at least 4 or 5 are actually my students. So this never happens. It's almost always you guys from the channel. And I don't know why, but I've got a bunch of students in here. So, okay, I get sidetracked. Back to the subject. So, we have what is it? Strength or muscle or fat when it comes to the 180 pounds. We have what kind of skills does he have? Is he an athlete? Is he athletic? Is he a slob? Um, Assuming he doesn't have skills and he's not crazy athletic. Number three, blue belts or purple belts, brown belts, black belts aren't all created equal. So they can vary. So that's going to change it drastically. It's a 120-pound female. Does the female have striking training, or are we just talking about straight up jujitsu? Is her type of jujitsu? Does she know takedowns and takedown defense? Is she familiar with the standing position? Again, I would have to like just go with an average, guys. That's all we can do, because this gets, now that we talk about all these different variables, it's completely hypothetical. There's no way of knowing or telling. But we can kind of give an average. We could talk about it. Even if it is just fantasy, we can still talk about it. So, what belt? My assessment, on average, I will say purple belt. And if you think about it, some of you guys might say, no way, no way, no way. Oh, by the way, I remembered another variable that came to mind when it comes to rape. Guys, a rape attack. Is it the type of, now, I'm not a rapist, so I don't know how most rapists do their thing. But let me say this comes to mind. A rapist who is going to grab a female, let's say he doesn't know who she is. Most of the time, I believe they know their victims. But let's say a guy kind of just doesn't know them close and he has to snatch her. If he's got a snatcher and she's kicking and fighting, is he going to beat the shit out of her until she's completely unconscious before he does his deed? Or is it more of a rape where we're talking about guy meets a girl at a party, he's drinking, he makes a couple moves, you know what I'm saying? They're in the bed already. Maybe they were making out, she's uncomfortable, and then he goes too far. There's a spectrum of rape that is a variable, huge variable. Is the guy just going to beat the shit out of you, knock you unconscious right off the bat? Or is he going to attempt to just take advantage of you by wrestling? I mean, that changes it a whole lot. So I want to mention that, because I understand that if I say that a blue belt female, 120 pounds, can defeat a 180-pound man with her jiu-jitsu, if I say a blue belt can do it, instantly you can think of ideas like, come on, 180-pound man, he just grabs her, pins her, one good swipe, one good elbow, one good punch, and she's done. So that's real. I mean, like, I'm with you on that 100%. She could, the jiu-jitsu maybe doesn't help at all. But here's what I know about blue belts, because I've trained many of them. Female blue belts. People that are students of mine that are in the room can vouch for this. When Megan Parduccio was a blue belt, Megan Paradise, so that's two. I got two hands, but I'm gonna count on one. Megan Paradise. These are like just recently. Now Megan Paradise is a purple belt. Megan Parduccio is a brown belt now. Any of my students that rolled with them when they were blue belts, they know that those two girls, if you wrestled with those girls, or if a 180-pound male came in out off the street, didn't have much training or none at all, if they tangled with those females, guys, it wasn't like my females just maybe slipped out and choked them once. I'm talking about Megan would wreck these guys, wreck them. Now, granted, they're not striking, but think about it. 5-minute round, these guys they know they're going into a fight, like a grappling scenario. They know that the girl knows something. She has to. She's in a class. And they still can't stop it. Now, think about a situation, like I said, where more of the mild kind of rape, where hate to call it mild, but what I'm saying is a guy is just trying to force himself little by little, more and more, until he realizes, you know what, I'm going to take it. You know what, I'm doing it. I'm taking advantage of this girl. It's not just blitzing like crazy with strikes at first. It's more like, let me try to wrestle this girl, not knowing what she knows. A blue belt of mine can definitely handle a 180-pound male. He's going to make a mistake. If he's also a female that makes has strategy in some sense, there's a strategy to it. You know, uh, if a girl is a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, but she can't keep her cool, maybe she's like that in the gym, but when faced with a situation in real life, she can't adapt, then her belt doesn't help her. Some people, everybody's different. This is a whole nother variable. Some people can like get in that real life situation, relax, and come up with a really quick plan. Maybe the plan is, hey, look, I don't want this, leave me alone, and then take advantage. Or is it going to be total fear shutdown? When you get to the fight or flight, it's all fear and they freeze and they can't react. Guys, that happens to people in competitions. Everybody knows about this. This is real. So these are all variables. So again, my assessment is, I think an average male, 180 pounds, if he messes with a purple belt female, and I am basing it on my standards of what a purple belt is, she's going to be able to handle the situation for the most part. Now, if you're telling me he's swinging wildly, he's going to beat her. He's, ex-con, he was in prison, he lifts weights, he knows, he's been in a lot of fights his whole life. He's not the creepy rapist. He's more of the creepy but somewhat street smart, skilled rapist. We might need to upgrade that all the way up to a black belt. I mean, and even still, nobody knows. I could get in a fight and lose to some guy who has no training. If that guy throws the craziest punch and catches me and clips me, it's possible I could lose a fight. I readily admit that. But what are the odds? The odds are super slim to none that a 180-pound male is going to do that to me, or even a 220-pound male. I don't give a shit. 250-pound male. Guys, 99% of those guys I'm going to handle because of my 26 years of martial arts training, striking, grappling, wrestling, everything included, my awareness, my ability to, in a split second, slip and move just to avoid the crazy shot. I on an average guy, I really believe that. And I don't think I'm delusional in saying that. When it comes to a 120-pound female, it's not like a 145, 150-pound male like myself. We're not talking about that. We're talking, I've got a definitely big jump in strength than a female does. So I do get it. It's an interesting discussion. I'm sure Sean Don with his friends, they get in arguments and people want to talk about it, because women all the time, guys, it's common in the martial arts. I've got a black belt. Do you know what I could do to you? And then they're at a party and then some dude just grabs her, throws her on the ground. I'm not talking about a real fight, but he wrestles her down and she realizes that her Taekwondo black belt couldn't save her from a man. But remember, the one thing about jiu-jitsu is, if a guy's going to try to wrestle a female down to try to take advantage of her sexually, and he's got to get close at some point, it kind of feeds into the jiu-jitsu game to a certain extent. So anyway, let me I don't think I need to go any further. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm way off? Are you on the other side? Do you think that women can always like really defend themselves, or do you imagine that the 180-pound male is a big bad monster that just cannot be beaten by a female? I mean, what do you guys believe? So let me look at a couple of the comments. So just going back to Varun, What's up, Varun? Um, Joe Rogan Hickson said if he had no time limit, Vale match, he doesn't care if it's Cain Velasquez or John Jones. He said with his level of BJJ, size does not matter. Okay, that's another question, Varun. My quick answer, maybe Hickson's a little off right there. Yes, size does matter. I don't give a shit if it's Vale. I don't give a shit if it's no time limit. It does matter. Size matters for sure. It's a factor. Now, do I not believe that Hickson has? I think he has a chance, but I'm not. I don't believe that he would win and beat everybody. Um, I maybe that's not actually what he said though. He said with his level of BJJ, size does not matter. Yes, it does, because again, Hickson's a decent sized guy. If you reduce Hickson to 140 pounds, it's very lopsided. Size matters 100%. Okay. Endless scenarios. So, how do I counter the 3/4 Nelson in Jiu-Jitsu wrestling? We'll do that another time, guys. Um, limp arm. That must be Jeff, right? I assume. I don't read Japanese, so I think that's Jeff. So, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? So, I'm doing a live right now, and then I have a couple students come over. They're just hanging out. So, I got students in the chat room. I got students in the house, and anyway, I'll get back to you guys. Here we go. Okay, Matt Pamilio says those girls would murder most men if they tried some shit. So, could a 180-pound man rape a 120-pound man? Super original name says. Anyway, Voodoo says they getting choked out. They going home with a limp. I think he meant he's going to intentionally put himself in her guard. Yeah, that's what I mean, guys. It could possibly feed right into it. Now, obviously, I'm well aware that there are rapists. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but there are rapists that they get a struggling female, they don't fuck around. They just knock her unconscious and then they take advantage. So, it all depends on what kind of rapist he is too. So, and I really don't know too much about the subject. I can only use my imagination. It's not something that I do. So, anyway, the battle instinct. That's what makes the difference between a blue purple belt who used to wrestle or box as opposed to a blue purple belt who never did either. They lack that aggression and realistic aspect of the fight. David says, totally legit right there. Guys, are we talking about a blue belt, purple belt? I'm talking about one that's trained by me that is aware of these things. These are things I address on occasion. Again, I teach takedowns. Occasionally, we do striking. Um, we we are not like the typical blue belt female at a school. And I'm not saying that blue belts aren't good at other schools. Like some of them are really good. I'm just saying I do know plenty of blue belt females that I've met before, and they aren't quite ready for a real fight. They're more like just jujitsu blue belts. So if in the most respectful way possible, I'm trying to say that. So if Francis Ngannou wanted to rape Coach Brian, could Coach Brian be able to fend him off? So listen, guys, Francis Ngannou was not the example I was talking about. Let me restate that. I was talking about I don't care how big he is if he's not a trained fighter. If you guys picked, could Coach Brian beat Mike Tyson in a fight? No. So, guys, we're not talking about me fighting Francis Ngannou. Obviously, he's a giant man. If he threw a punch, he would fuck me up and I'd get knocked out. And he obviously is skilled enough in mixed martial arts. He could probably withstand what I could throw at him. It doesn't mean that I don't have a chance, though. It doesn't mean I don't have a chance. There's always a chance when you get entangled, but the odds are very slim for me. So I will admit that, readily admit that. So, anyway, Moving on. There's so many comments now. Do you hold your female students to the same standard as male students in terms of belt promotions? They both need to easily submit a 185-pound newbie male. That's a great question, Foul Fortune. Because I just talked about that before the last time I did a live. I wouldn't say that they're held to identical standards, but they're fairly close. They're fairly close to the same standards. In other words, because otherwise, if I make it identical in standards, most females are smaller. So a female that weighs 120 and a male that weighs 140, let's say, that 20 pounds difference, not to mention he's male, so he's stronger. If he can, submit that white belt newbie who comes in at 185, then maybe he's ready for his blue belt. He's whooping the guy's ass over and over. Now, a female that's 120, I factor that in. If she can't whoop that 185-pound male's ass, like tap him like a typewriter, it's okay. I mean, but definitely she's probably going to catch him. I would say that. Yeah. If I had a 120-pound female, she's going to tap the 185-pound male. For her to be a blue belt, she's going to tap the average 185er who walks in. He's not going to survive against one of my blue belts. It's just simple as that. And anybody that's been in my gym knows what I'm talking about, because Megan like wrecks people. I mean, like multiple times, 4 or 5 times, sometimes with guys that are huge. And I'm not saying all of them, but many. So let's see. Jeff says, I don't know. Something tells me it's too much. Maybe I haven't trained with those gals in a while. I don't think that Hickson would beat John Jones. Yeah, to have a fighting chance due to skills they possess and the attacker lacks. That's what Voodoo says. Yep. So, and then Jeff brings up Paul Harris. So he says, but what about Paul Harris? Guys, would a female that's 120 be able to beat Rusamar or Paul Harris? Guys, hell no. Now we're going completely not what I'm talking about, Jeff. You know better, but it is hilarious. And then JP Knowledge brings up a good point. The average man doesn't know how to throw a decent punch and would gas out in 90 seconds. I did not even mention that. Great point. Guys, the average person, I don't care if he's 185 pounds, he's going to get tired. If you're a trained female, you should have the experience to, although you're going to get some adrenaline flow in a real situation, to be able, you're going to handle the situation better as time moves on through the fight. I really think so. But that's the difference in training. Training just does better. And guys, you can also pull up YouTube and you'll find live, like real surveillance footage of women being attacked by guys. It's not like guys always win. Although you do have the NFL player who just knocks the shit out of some girl in an elevator. So anyway, so many comments. I get lost. So let's see. Blue belt has a great chance. They know the pressure. Okay. Varun, I'm a 125-pound guy that always grapples and spars big dudes. How far can my technique take me? I am trying not to give the excuse of being small. I'll tell you what, guys, I recognize this as a male that is small. And remember, guys, I used to be smaller. So when I started training jiu-jitsu, I weighed about 130. So when I was 130 pounds, keep in mind, I already had several years of wrestling experience. It was kind of it was hard to deal with big guys, but I dealt with pretty much everyone at 130 pounds. It wasn't long before I was 140, though. I gained those 10 pounds literally from age 18, 19, right in there. So I wasn't 130 for very long. And I think once you reach the weight of about 145 to 150 for a guy, you're really, really like solid. You know, I was 145 for the most of my 20s, through my 20s. I weigh about 152 now. Um, so I was 145 average throughout almost all my 20s, walking around. And that weight, I could still handle really big dudes. But when I was 130, it was way harder. That 15 pounds was enormous. One thing I have noticed, guys, because I've gained weight in the past, I was as heavy in my life as 163, 164, I think, 162, 164. And again, most of it was fat, guys. It wasn't muscle. It's not like I was fat, but I threw down the food to get up there. It was after making 132 pounds. The last time I competed, I just ballooned up as much as I could. I gained 30 pounds in like 5 days. So most of it was just food going through the system. But I was 162, 63 pounds. And I'll say this, I noticed an enormous advantage that I had by going from 150 up to 163, or 145 to 163. That 18, 19, 20 pounds was enormous. I was just way stronger, way heavier. My technique, like that weight with my technique behind it, I can only imagine what it's like if I could weigh 185. Like it blows my mind, because when I'm 160, people I go with immediately feel it and they notice it. And even I notice it. I feel twice as strong. I'm 152 now. I definitely don't feel very big anymore. Fat or big, however you want to call it. But weight matters for sure. And so thank you, Mikey. He just gave me a compliment. Amazing coach. Thank you. So back to what Varun's saying. 125, guys, if you're 125 pounds, Varun, that's rough, man. I can imagine. I mean, like, because you're so small. Like, I've gone with some really good guys. I don't want to name drop, but I've gone with a world champion, brown belt. He's a black belt now. At the time, he was a world champion brown belt IBJJF. And he was at the lightest weight. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm not going to name drop. I think the lightest weight, you guys that know IBJJF, I think he's like 125, somewhere in there. It's like super light. So I roll with that guy when I was probably 150. And if you think about it, guys, 25 pounds at that weight is huge. I consider myself a small male at 150 pounds, but now I'm grappling with a 125 pound, albeit jiu-jitsu brown belt, world champ, but I have 25 pounds, guys. He could literally do nothing to me. It was like, and again, I know sound like I'm bragging, but I'm just being honest, guys. I want you to get a glimpse how much weight matters. It didn't matter that we could argue that he's a better grappler than me. I'd argue that too. But what I'm saying is, like, we could argue that he's a better performer in tournaments than me. He won a higher level tournament than I did, let's say, for sure, 100%. But so he's better than me. Let's just say he's better than me. The 25 pounds that I had, guys, it was like nothing. It wasn't even hard. Like he was now, if he gained 10 pounds and he was 135 and I'm 150, it changes a lot. But because he's like 125, 130-ish, I could literally manhandle his body and just put him in positions and tap him repeatedly, like 4 or 5 times over and over and over. It was like wrestling with a blue belt in some sense that was my size. But because even though he's way higher level, the weight made the difference. So when it comes to you, Varun, at 125, that's rough, man. That's really hard. I can't state this enough, guys. I'm even learning as I talk. Um, it's really around the 150 weight class. Once you hit that point, at least for me, that's in my experience, at my level of understanding, 150, you could do a whole lot still. And I think all my students would vouch for this because they feel what I can do at 150 pounds. And but if I was 125, I wouldn't be able to do it. There's just no way. I would get ragdolled. I would get ragdolled by a 200 pounder, no doubt. I'm sure that that would be way too much weight, and I would be playing a jiu-jitsu style where I can't even be aggressive. I just have to hold on and hope the guy makes a mistake. So, this is all interesting stuff. And going back to the female example, that's why it's kind of rough to talk about with a 120-pound female. But again, I'm thinking of one of my females that's trained versus a 180-pound male who's untrained, kind of just an average human being who decides to do something horrific like rape. So anyway, great points. In a heated street fight, it gets very explosive and violent. Yes, size matters for sure. Skills can definitely beat size. But when you're talking about a massive size difference, it's definitely harder. Yes, for sure. So, wow. Extra weight in the form of body fat hinders combat sports because fat requires oxygenated blood to live. So the oxygenated blood that needs to go to the muscle goes to the extra body fat. Thoughts? George asks. Now, George, I don't know that. Like, I believe you. I believe you. I don't like that's not something I know. All I know is when I weigh 10 pounds more, I don't give a shit if it's fat. Now, granted, you can imagine putting a like 10-pound, if I wore a suit that evened out my body 10 more pounds, you could argue that that would make my body tired and slower. But when it comes to doing jujitsu and grappling, the moment that I get on top, guys, the moment I get on top and I have that extra weight, I know how to use that weight. And that's what I've experienced, that it goes a long way. Like, again, when I was 163, 64, I think was my top, and I grabbed a 200 pounder. But you know what? There was a strength factor too, guys. It obviously wasn't like it was weight on me, but I was so full of food. I was stronger. Like my muscles were, everything was bigger. And guys, it was literally just eating, gorging my body. But I instantly, your body gets all swollen and puffy. But guys, I grabbed people. And I think everybody notices this in reverse, George. Like when you cut weight, when you lose weight, you don't keep your strength. And people go, "Oh, I lost body fat. I should be just as strong." You aren't. I'm just talking about from experience. I'm not saying that you can't make the same lift. Let's say it's I don't know, bench press. And, if you lose 5 pounds, you might still be able to do the same weight. Maybe you didn't lose any muscle. You're still strong. But what I'm saying is, and I think a lot of you guys have noticed, when you lose weight, you lose strength. And again, it's not always muscle size. There's something about it. I don't know. I don't know the science of it. I just know from personal experience and training with people my whole life. Dude, I got a guy in the room right here, Pius, amateur MMA champ, pro fighter. He's 200 pounds right now. He's walking around at 200 pounds. He was a lightweight fighter. He may say he feels slow and out of shape, but when that dude grabs you right now at 200 pounds, I guarantee you he's stronger than when he's at 155. When he gets down to 155, he's not that big and bad anymore. He's still bad, Pius. You're still bad, but you're not as big and bad as when people have to deal with you at 190. So that's for sure. I felt that myself before. As your body weight comes down, you're definitely a little easier to deal with. And when you're huge, you are the strongest man on the planet. So anyway, Marcelo constantly proves size does not matter. He submitted Rico Rodriguez, 300 pounds, black belt, and there's a video where he ragdolls Andre Arlovsky. Again, guys, yeah, we're talking about highest level of technique. We're also talking about a 180-pound athlete who cuts to 170, you know, but he definitely isn't sitting there at 169. He's I'm sure he walks around at 75, 80, and many times I'm sure Marcelo gets as chubby as 200. But anyway, would Roger Gracie have been as successful if he was 30% smaller? Um, you know what, guys? I would have to say no. He would not be as successful, and that's not a knock on him. He's great, but the fact is, the bigger when you're at the heavyweight weight class, it's just not quite as technical. And Hodger's advantage, I think he's one of the most technical heavyweights we've ever had or ever seen. So I think once you drop down in weight, you are going to drop into a weight class that has more sharks, and you may not be the biggest, baddest shark anymore, or maybe you are, but you're just not as successful. So I think that's an easy question to answer, and it's not controversial. So yes, Longshot says he has all of his blue belts, know how to strike. That's great. Oh, Drysdale Marcelo. Yeah, there's an example right there. Size definitely mattered with Drysdale and Marcelo. I have a real quick story for you guys on that subject. I was I don't know if I've told this before, but I was there live when Drysdale was taking on Marcelo. The match was in New Jersey. You guys can all watch it on YouTube. It was the finals of Absolute. Marcelo at that point had been to the finals of Absolute before. He took third 2 years earlier in 2005. This was in 07. And Marcelo was wrecking everyone. Went right through his weight class, and he's going through the Absolute, and he's just killing all these big guys, north-south chokes, guillotines. He's just finishing people. And he goes to the finals, and now he's got Robert Drysdale. Keep in mind, I believe he also beat Shanji Hibario that day and choked him with a rear naked. So, guys, I mean, Marcelo was on fire. I was in the stands with my chess hero, Josh Waitskin. So, if you guys don't know Josh Waitskin, he's the subject of the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer. He's also helped Marcelo Garcia get started with his academy in New York. So he's one of Marcelo's black belts. As far as I know, he's still involved over there. He at the time, I believe, was a brown belt, and in 2007. And I was sitting next to him. He was like, again, my chess hero. I was like totally starstruck that I got to hang out with him over that weekend. And we were talking about chess and watching the matches. And obviously he's very, very close to Marcelo Garcia. So he's, pro Marcelo. And I'm pro Marcelo. Just saying Marcelo is going to win this. He's going to kill him. Nobody can stop Marcelo. He's like the Garry Kasparov of Jiu-Jitsu at the time, Garry Kasparov. I guess now you would say Magnus Carlsen. And, this guy is he's going to kill everybody. And I kept telling Josh, I was like, Drysdale's a different animal, dude. Drysdale's a really good big man. The size is going to be too much. I just, 2 years earlier when Jacare grabbed, Marcelo, put him in a Kimura, it was fairly easy. I just thought about it. I was like, dude, you can't be so sure that Marcelo's going to, overcome this mountain. But sure enough, if you guys saw the match, Marcelo's aggressive like he always is, shoots in. Drysdale hits the sacrifice Darce or the Mars, rolls to his back, and they kind of gator roll around a little bit with a Darce and finishes him. So, amazing match. But my story on this, I found very interesting. This was 2007. I knew exactly what he did. I love the technique myself. I had my matches with Jeff Glover. Jeff Glover was great with the Darce, so I was very well versed on the Darce, and so I immediately said he got Darsed, and Josh Waitzkin was asking his Brazilian instructor, "What was? I don't understand." And puts things in perspective, guys. A brown belt at that time in 2007, it was possible to not know what a Darce is. To be a brown belt, not know what it is. Um, Again, nowadays I can't fathom that, but just a little tidbit of information. He was like, "What was that?" And then his instructor, or one, Marcelo's his instructor, but another instructor, Brazilian, older guy, definitely older, like probably in his 40s, 50s. I want to say 50s. He said anaconda, and I was like, "No." I was trying to explain to him, it's not the anaconda. I go, the anaconda is the opposite of the Darce, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's my little story on the Drysdale versus Marcelo match, watching it happen live, and then trying to explain to my hero, my chess hero, that I love Marcelo, but I kind of called it. Drysdale was a really good big man. So anyway, um, so Kevin asks, "Do you still train striking as well, coach?" The answer is technically no. I would say I wouldn't consider that I train striking, but the truth is, on occasion, guys, I'm I'm in the gym all the time, so I'm shadow boxing. I'm hitting bags every once in a while. Most of the time, I don't even put on gloves. I just hit bags. Um, but I do it on sporadic moments throughout my week. So I guess you could say I still do it a little bit, but as far as train striking, like seriously, no, I don't. Like I'm not practicing sparring. I'm not doing that kind of stuff, but I'm just shadow boxing and hitting bags. So I'm doing that every once in a while, and it's good to kind of keep up a little bit. So the idea of sparring hard in all facets is important. What is your opinion? Also, how would you approach that idea from MMA and BJJ competitions? So, Tasneem asks, um, definitely, I agree with you that we got to train hard sometimes. You don't have to do it all the time, but you kind of got to get a little wild every once in a while if you want to keep sharp. Um, how would you approach that idea from MMA and BJJ competitions? I'm not sure of what you mean by the question. Um, I agree with you. You have to spar hard sometimes. So I'm not sure of what that question is actually asking. So females, okay, so Jeff asked, females who are 120-ish should all be able to wax me. Jeff, you're skilled, brother. You're like freaking all-American in wrestling in high school. You're a Division I caliber wrestler. Like it doesn't matter if you're like in your 120s, you're skilled. And you have judo. Like, come on, brother. Anyway, so Skeptic asks, Megan submits guys. Yes, definitely. When you say tap him, okay, I got lost. I hate it when I scroll and then I miss what you guys type. Okay, trying to catch up. When you say tap him, that's based on BJJ grappling setup. Yeah, when I say tap, no, 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 no. D Pesci is asking, tap him means submit him. Tap him. That means like to submit your opponent. It's like slang for that. So anyway, Gabby Garcia, coach, would you be down for a Zoom interview with me? Would like to ask you a lot of questions and talk about some unsung incredible martial artists, please. I want to put the interview in my channel. So, yeah, I mean, we could do that, Varun. Just hit me up and we'll try to do something. Anyway, uh, Havish says weight matters more in nogi. Yeah, maybe could be arguable. I think that I wanna push back a little bit on that, Havish. Um, I do see that because the clothing is a technical item that you can use against your opponent, it does allow for some less strength and more ability. I'll push back only slightly, very slightly on that comment. Um, the majority of no-gi people or people who go into no-gi, they because they come from the gi, a lot of jujitsu comes from the gi. It's the origin of almost all no-gi grappling. Um, because of it, it the pushback I want to say is that people don't know how to do nogi, and because of that, they constantly talk about how nogi is slippery and nogi more speed and strength matter and all this, and then now the subject of weight mattering. But the way I look at it is because I have a majority nogi background, it's really what you train. And I don't feel like, in some ways I could argue that on the street, if I was had a jacket on, let's say I had a jiu-jitsu gi on, I can actually be controlled more by an untrained guy. If he grabs my gi, he could use that against me. In some, he doesn't even need to know that much, but it could be tough if a guy, like that video I did where a guy grabs your jacket and starts wailing on you. Um, you know, that's where the gi, you kind of wished you were doing no gi at that point, like you didn't have that to grab onto. You'd be easier. No-gi would be the easier way. So it's not totally clear cut that wearing a gi makes it more technical or makes it easier or less strength or less, all those things. It really depends on what you're trained and what you're skilled at. Again, if I could choose, because of my skill set, although I do know how to use the gi and I am a black belt, I will pick nogi, because that's what I do. It's kind of like, ask Gordon Ryan, he would say the same thing. Ask Craig Jones, he would say the same thing. It's what we specialize in. So as a nogi specialist, that's what I would prefer. And then I would actually think that the gi would actually hinder me personally. Um, Certainly, I could use somebody's jacket against them. So there's definitely some good points you have with that. So anyway, I want to finish by saying I agree with you mostly. So I just think that there's variables. Okay. I don't know about that. I guess I'll go with that. Weight might matter more without the gi. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So, oh my goodness, you guys type so much stuff I can't keep up. All right, guys. One of my students, Ryan, is in the house. Coach, can you avoid my flying guillotine? Oh my gosh, guys. Um, Ryan. All he does, he's one of my brown belts. He jumps and does a flying guillotine that he pulls off one out of every 100 attempts. He will get a flying guillotine pulled off, and it's usually on a white belt. That's what you get, Ryan. It never works. I can always avoid your flying guillotine. I literally catch you in midair, and then I will double leg you and drop you down. So anyway, guys, it's getting late. There's so many different questions off topic. So okay, Flying Frogger says he's 130, got my rib cage broken in side control from shoulder pressure by a 230-pound guy. Yep. And that's what I'm talking about earlier when I was talking about the small man. Guys, 130, it just isn't enough. You got a guy 100 pounds bigger than you, he can seriously hurt you with pressure. I will say this, guys. If a guy's unskilled, there's no way a 230-pound man can hurt me. He could never hurt my ribs. Guys, it would never happen. I have enough size that a 230-pounder, you can give him side control all you want. He's not going to hurt me. Now, I know that in Flying Frogger's case, I would be willing to bet that the 230-pound guy probably had some skill too. But anyway, stamina, Havish, hot wings. Yep, stamina factors in good. So anyway, guys, there's so many questions. I'm going to have to wrap this up real soon. We're at 1 hour. How do you train grappling by yourself during a quarantine? Blue Rings wants to know. You can get a dummy, guys. You can get a suplex speed dummy. Guys, if you guys don't know, you'll see them in my videos. I've got these red dummies in the background. They're amazing. They're great for throwing. You can do some basic jiu-jitsu on them. They're not the best jiu-jitsu dummy on the market, but I think they're probably one of the best dummies because they're versatile. You can throw them. You can do, basic grappling positions on them, practice arm bars, triangles, rear naked chokes, omoplatas, kimuras. You can do all that, guillotines, and still practice. So that's one thing you guys can do if you guys can't train right now with another person. Get a suplex speed dummy. Go to suplex.com. I like the speed dummies. They make a lot of different products. Speed dummies are lightweight, and I'll be doing a video on them again. I already have one on my channel, but I'll be promoting them a little bit more. I bought a lot of dummies, and these guys definitely they hooked it up a little bit and gave me a little discount. So I want to help them out and promote them. So anyway, Xavier, I'm a 55-pound little boy, and I crush 250-pound men every day. Anyway, Lift Hunt Game asks, how tall are you? For reference, I tried your tightest darts for the first time rolling, and I had it set up maybe too tight, and while I was trying to finish, he escaped my arms are pretty big and short. Yeah, I'm about 5'6.5", guys. I like to say half because it makes me feel bigger. I'm about 5'6". So anyway, have a good night, Matt, and saying goodbye to a few of you guys. So guys, thank you guys so much for everything. Again, I gotta thank you. We've got 53 people in the chat room. Thank all of you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. I had a little rough day as far as how I was feeling. I might be coming down with a cold, but I hope that I'll feel better tomorrow. So hope I don't have the Rona, but anyway, thank you guys so much for all your support during this time. I'm going to keep pumping out the videos, guys. I got so many ideas in my head. I don't know what else to do. And I'm getting more ideas from you guys all the time. It seems like it's never ending. There's always more to do. And I have so many amazing students that can come in and teach stuff as well. You guys know we have Anton teaching stuff. Just last night I dropped little Chance Rich. One of my my best wrestlers. I've got Ben Gould. All these college guys. I got tons of wrestlers now that are in college. And lots of great jiu-jitsu guys. Kneebar Mike. You got John Soler, Megan Parduccio. There's so many of the guys out there that can offer amazing things for my channel, and not to mention all my friends that I bring in on occasion, great jiu-jitsu black belts and such that will come in, and I'll bring you guys on the channel. So the content is definitely going to keep flowing. I really appreciate your support, everybody. If you guys contribute to Patreon, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me going. So again, guys, thank you so much. I hope tomorrow to bring you some cool stuff. I've got Vince Bichelle. He fights in the UFC 155 division. I filmed a little bit of him sparring with one of my wrestlers. I'll be dropping that real soon, and maybe he'll be showing you guys some more MMA. He wants to get into MMA, teaching you guys MMA stuff. So we got lots of stuff on the horizon. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time with more great stuff. Thank you.